Another day, another thought, and another setup. Welcome all to another edition of the Double Thought Show. Hope everyone is doing well. As you guys know, I'm RJ here together with my co-host KR. KR, what's up, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Awesome. Hey, as you guys can see, we made some changes, some small and minor upgrades, but I think you can clearly see the difference between the previous show and the current show. I think KR is thinking of a name for the previous shows or like the shows of the past. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. But we want to thank everyone.
Broke era.
The broke era. Yo, we want to thank everyone that's checking out this show. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the Double Thought Show. Remember, guys, to rate the show by pressing the like button, share it with your friends, your family, and every other people you know. Remember to comment as well, share your thoughts and opinions with us. But most importantly, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It really means a lot to us. If you would just hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can stay up to date with the latest developments of the Double Thought Show. Remember as well, guys, that there's a disclaimer in the comment section below. Go check it out. We're here only to provide entertainment. So if you're looking for advice in any particular area of your life, please seek advice from other people. For everything else relating to entertainment, we welcome you to the Double Thought Show. We have a good one for you today, so sit back and enjoy today's show.
Where do we begin?
Yes, guys. In today's show, we are going to talk about Starbucks. Starbucks have not settled. They lost the case. I wanted to say settle, but they lost. They took an L. An L of 25.6 million over some allegations of firing a woman because she is.
I'm not going to say what race, what people. We know I can't say that.
White. Yes. So, guys. RJ,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say everything now. This is the intro. So,
Yeah,
you have
this is
anything to add?
Yeah, this is the intro. Well, this case has a lot of twists and turns. We're gonna talk about different angles. First and foremost, how it all started. It all started with two black men who entered into the Starbucks, local Starbucks in Philadelphia. That things escalated quickly, and so much so that these two people were arrested. No charges were filed. But it started with something pretty local and ended with the termination of an agreement of one of the managers, regional managers. So we're going to talk about it from a business perspective, whether or not Starbucks was moving correctly.
Yes, guys. Before we start the show, what do you think about this one? Let us know. Let us know in the comments if you want one as well. These are we have been announcing upgrades, so we're gonna move forward and also develop. So if you want to be part of the Double Thought community, don't forget to subscribe so you can say I was day one.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit creepy, but let's continue.
Hora do show!
Yes, hora do show. Showtime. Still a bit rusty, guys. These last 2 weeks, you guys have seen us posting kind of more evergreen content because we use those 2 weeks to mainly meet up and think of new plans. So that's why I'm a bit rusty today. So just kind of go along with the flow.
Yes.
If it becomes better.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks, very productive weeks. We made some changes, as you guys can see. But
Oh, no, the other one, the other one.
case in point, we still, we still need to adapt. And this is a new setup. Really like it, but there are some small changes. So yeah, we need to get back into the recording flow.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, guys, as we already announced, today's show is gonna be about Starbucks, who lost the 25.6 million lawsuit against. Her name ends with Phillips.
Shannon, I think.
Is it
Shannon.
N? This is I just had her name, but then I forgot it. Guys, I forget names really easily.
Shannon Phillips.
Shannon Phillips, indeed, indeed. Shannon Phillips hit a lick. Some people are just lucky.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she's lucky and unlucky at the same time. She thought probably she was unlucky, but with some good lawyers, you might get a good help, a push in the back, the right
Yeah.
direction. RJ, you basically started earlier in the show, in the intro, telling about the story about how it all started. Can you more expand on it? Tell us about the two guys that were racially profiled, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they were racially profiled in Starbucks in Philadelphia. Two men by the name of Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson went into a Starbucks to according to their story, to hold a meeting. It was on April 12th, and the waitress, or one of the waitresses, asked them if they wanted something to drink, and they said that they did not want something to drink. At a particular point in time, one of them wanted to use the bathroom as well, and they were denied the bathroom because it was for paying customers only. So up to that point, doesn't seem like anything wrong happened. But to their surprise, they got a visit from police officers. I believe there were 3 police officers who entered and wanted to escort them out, and they were surprised. And when they asked why they wanted to escort them out, because they didn't do anything, the cop said that according to the call they received, they refused to pay and they refused to leave. And they said, no, but we were never told to leave. They just asked us whether or not we wanted something to drink. And we said no. So that escalated quickly. The 2 men were arrested, but no charges were filed. So they were let go. They could go home. But of course, this sparked a lot of controversy and commotion. People went into the streets, and even in that particular Starbucks location, from what we understand, to protest. So yeah, of course, as a company, the question is, what do you do, right? The story about what happened to the regional manager, we will discuss a bit later. But of course, what Starbucks did, let's say locally, with regards to these 2 men, were entered into negotiations. Allegedly, there has been a settlement. No, it's not very clear what the settlement entails because it's not specific. But if I have to believe, I believe it was the Los Angeles Times, the LA Times. The settlement did include a offer to complete the college tuition of the 2 men, but it's not entirely clear what else was in that settlement agreement between Starbucks and the two men. The two men also had a settlement agreement.
Hey, wait a second. Wait a second. Before you continue, Ajay, I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're telling a great story. But I wanted to chime in already in the beginning.
Okay.
You said they were sitting there and didn't buy a drink. Guys, if you're going into to somewhere, just buy a simple drink.
Yeah.
If I was the owner of a shop, please don't come sit here and be cheap. Just buy a drink.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I'm not saying that what Starbucks did was right. Don't get me wrong, but just buy the drink. You're using their space.
Yeah.
Don't be a cheapskate. Just buy the drink. And if they had bought a drink, probably they wouldn't have said them. Well, maybe this worked out pretty well for them, so, because they don't have to pay tuition now. But
it's a
what?
expensive
It worked out for everyone, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
It worked out for the best. The best. But continue. Sorry, I interrupted. But please continue the story.
yeah. So as a lawyer, I am more you're very skeptic, right? So I have like a nose for you develop a nose for the information you receive and the information that you don't have. We don't know exactly what the question was that was asked to the two men, whether or not they were asked. So if they asked them, hey, do you want something to drink? And maybe they answered, not right now. I don't know. So those are facts and details that we do not know. But it's okay. I agree with you 100%. It's always preemptive. I've lived in a country, I've lived in Europe for a while, where you are, I mean, it's clear I'm not European. So when you enter into places, people already, in certain places, not all places, but sometimes people already have a bias towards you, right? And
You're cheap. That's the bias, I guess.
I don't know what they think. I'm not in their minds, but all I know is that when I enter into a store, I always buy something. I always buy, even if it's a small thing, because I don't.
Well.
Even if
you're talking about coffee shops, right?
I'm talking about coffee shops,
Not all
restaurants.
stores. You just enter a store randomly and start buying.
No.
Okay,
I'm just.
You're not that kind of.
No.
Wait a sec. Where's the soundbite? Where's the soundbite? Ah!
Is that
Money.
no? So no, but I do. So I do agree with you. And so the first thing I do is buy a coffee because, or buy something, at least a drink. If I just want to sit somewhere and work, I have to buy a coffee. I mean, you're sitting in someone else's establishment. It's just common courtesy. But but in this case, it's not the two men that's at fault. It's just from what it just seems as though things escalated quickly because according to them, they were never told told to buy something or leave. And maybe I would because there are some people who sit, let's say in the morning, maybe they're intermittent fasting and they drink after 12 or something. Like you don't know the exact. I'm just saying.
Or maybe they have Ramadan. I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But to get back to the story, there was one settlement which I talked about, but there was another very peculiar settlement that was entered into by Philadelphia, by the city of Philadelphia on the one hand, and the two other men. Allegedly, well, I mean, it seems like officially, they settled for a whopping $1. A whopping $1 each. So that was the settlement fee. I hope it was each at least. And
Can't even buy a $1 slice.
that's not enough to buy a coffee at Starbucks, man.
Put it in. What's? I think it's. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Right? Where Chris Rock said, "Put it in my hand."
I don't remember.
Oh, shit. I'm gonna play it for you after. Don't want to get a strike, but that was a genius movie, by the way. But let's continue.
Yeah, so it was a whopping $1 settlement, which is more of a symbolic settlement, a settlement fee, as well as a promise by the state to invest $200,000 in a program for young entrepreneurs. Now, I don't know if we should consider that a settlement amount. Well, it was. I mean, and it is a settlement amount, and we know who won.
In this case, you mean?
Yeah, but well, in this particular case, between the city of Philadelphia and the two men. On the other hand, I don't. So a settlement is usually based on. So when you enter into settlement, it's usually based on your leverage position in the first place. I have no clue to what extent the two men had a strong legal position, a strong leverage against the city of Philadelphia, because it was the issue was with Starbucks, right? So I don't know how the laws are in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, with regards to the holding a city liable for something that happened privately. Maybe it was against the police officers. I don't know.
I think it's police officers in this case, probably.
Yeah.
So
So
they basically maybe they were arrested without even no particular. So I'm talking about it. So they call the police, and then the police talks to the guys and suddenly arrest them
yeah.
without any reason. I think that's probably what happened, and that's why they sued the city as well.
Yeah. So, but I don't know, guys. If you guys know or have examples of what the rules are or laws are, or maybe you have some similar cases that can give us an idea, please share it with us. But yeah, when I read it, my first thought was $1 each. That's, I mean, to me, it's clear that the city won. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Guys, let us know what you think.
$1 each. Can't even go to Dollar General anymore to get anything. Inflation, guys, inflation. But yeah, that's a good. That's interesting because you said, well, they got $1 each, and maybe they didn't want to cost the taxpayers a bunch of money. We're pretty considerate guys, Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But they still set up a 200,000. Could have been. I would have aimed for $500,000, $1 million for the students. New program, and also I hope they have put in the
settlement agreement,
grant money settlement. So I'm talking about the one with the Philly government, state, or whatever. I hope they have they are the ones who are responsible for the entry rules, in a sense, because then, I mean, you can put. I've heard about these programs where they say we put a grant of $1 billion, and then it's almost impossible to apply for it because you have to go to so many hoops. So those are the things. I don't know. I would like to know more about this, guys. If you know these two guys, or about more about the details, let us know in the comments, because it's very interesting to see whether how easy it is to apply for these grants.
Yeah. It is. It
Also has to do with
is
maybe leverage.
interesting. Maybe they
Yeah.
had a good. Maybe the settlement with Starbucks was good as well. So good enough for them, because it's always subjective, right? Maybe
Yeah.
it was good enough for them, and they just wanted the thing to be over. And they said, you know what, city, just put some money, give it to poor kids, because poor kids are just as wise.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Oh, you had it ready. Yeah, so that was a story with regards to the incident relating to the two men. Before we continue with the other story, KR, what do you think that up to that point, that Starbucks was done? Like, did you think that up to that point Starbucks acted correctly, let's say from a corporate perspective, from a company perspective, to manage the damages? And
So if I take a look at the aspect, okay, you always want to do some damage control, right? They are quite a big brand. You don't want to be labeled as a for the lack of better word, I don't know if it's racist or discriminatory. Probably more discriminatory. They would use
biased, yeah.
bias, etc. So you want to manage that aspect in your PR. So up to that point, they dealt with it the best way possible. At the end, the situation was created on the floor, and you hope a lot of times that the manager in the place has the best um, assessment of the situation, and also is has enough sense to not put the company in a tight situation, which happened right here.
Yeah.
So the only thing you can do in this case is indeed settle, try to get the negative the negative PR or the negative media as soon as possible off your back, and then you can continue doing business. Because to be honest, guys, this happened in I think 2018, and no one is talking about it anymore until this case. So it helped. It worked. It worked. Well,
Yeah.
up until now.
Yeah. And you might think, when you hear the story and you hear that the regional, so just to give an example, the regional manager, who was the woman Shannon Phillips, who got fired, she was not the local manager. She oversaw chains of Starbucks shops in Philadelphia, and I believe in New Jersey as well, South New Jersey or something. So she was not there, present during that time. She was also not the one who called the cops. You have a corporate structure, and when you hear the story, you might think that the manager, the local manager, is the one I mean, you might guess what his ethnicity is.
I'm not going to say what race, what people. We know I can't say that.
Well,
Was that a rhetorical question, or
you'd probably be wrong. The regional manager is black.
you mean the operational?
The local manager.
Yeah.
The local manager is black. But it wasn't the local manager who was there either that day. It was a store manager who, I believe the store manager was white, because if they don't say anything in the articles, then the person is white, right?
Or the
If
other
it
way around these days. But
well, I don't know, but the point is that
because narratives,
it's
right?
it's not.
Don't forget about that.
What do you mean?
So if it wouldn't fit, so the narrative of the story is it's racism, right? There's racism. A lot of times, if the local or the person who called the police, I'm not saying it is. I'm not. I don't know the intricate details, but a lot of times, what you see these days is if something doesn't fit the narrative of the story or the article, they will leave out interesting details. Just saying that, but maybe this time the person who called the police was a, let's call it, a Karen. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe, but maybe that person was a Karen. But the thing is that when you hear the story, again, there are a lot of things that play a role. Usually the media always runs with racism, always runs with color, and those type of things.
Yeah,
We don't know what
for the
happened, but
clicks.
but the store manager was made store manager by the black local manager. And you might ask yourself, how is it possible that they fired the regional manager who is a step higher and who basically had nothing to do with the day-to-day things, with the day-to-day activities, nor what happened that day? We'll discuss that after we do the housekeeping. But one minor thing to take into account, guys, is, again, when you're running a business, let me start it this way. Not everything is about race. Not everything is always about race. This is a very delicate matter, but sometimes it's just business as well. Sometimes it's just miscommunication. Miscommunication happens daily. But of course, you can have the race component that can make things a bit more complex. When I heard the story, I immediately thought of a miscommunication issue. And to your point, when you are in someone's establishment, you need to pay for the drink, or you need to pay something. They're not going to make you they can't make you order the whole menu. But if you order a bottle of water, you're done. You've ordered something. They're not going to kick you out. And sometimes, I mean, if you're the store manager and you hear maybe the waitress told the store manager, yes, they don't want any drinks. So the waitress maybe asked the people, the two guys. The guy said, no, we don't want anything to drink. They might have thought, yeah, we don't want anything to drink now. We might order later. But the waitress went to the local manager and told the local managers, yeah, they don't want to drink. The local manager escalated things and said,
What do you mean by
well, and escalated things and said, okay, no, you know what? I'm going to call the police. But I think whatever the miscommunication was, it did seem that was an escalation that wasn't really necessary.
Yeah.
It was why, and I think that oftentimes happen, and there can be a bias, maybe a bias in the local manager himself or herself. I don't know if it's a guy or a woman, but maybe it's something that is in the person itself, and that person thought, oh, but if I talk to them, they might get angry. They might, start showing their pieces. I don't want that, so I'm gonna call the cops. But it does seem like they escalated it, whether it was race or not. it's a matter of communication.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they communicated things properly. Would you agree?
It's total failure in communication. I think you can escalate two ways in this case. The manager would just sit there and wait till they order, or you, after a while, after half an hour, you send someone out and ask them again, do you want something to drink? I mean, calling the police. So I don't know what. Also, maybe you have to take a lot of things into consideration. I know that Philly has violence going on, etc. So you don't know if the person was also thinking, but if that's also the bias, that right? If in that region there are some robberies going on, you start looking at things differently. And I
Yeah,
mean,
but
it's
it's
a total screw. It's definitely a screw up. Just don't
yeah,
call the police out of nowhere and try
yeah,
to
but
say they refuse to leave. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. Only thing is, so I agree with you that it plays a role, but on the other hand, we're not talking about a club. We're talking about Starbucks. I mean, two men enter into Starbucks. You see how they're dressed. They're just dressed casually, I believe, with their hoodies. And I don't know if you can find a picture with them on it and you can share it. But it did. I mean, it
and they
doesn't.
were arrested.
Yeah, they were arrested.
No,
Well,
no,
at
when
least
they were arrested. Do you want the picture of
yeah,
that?
just a picture of them. But I only saw one where they were arrested.
Give me
So
a
that's what I'm
second.
saying. But it just seems like they never told them, and that's their story. They said they never told us pay or leave. They never told us that. They only asked us whether or not we wanted something to drink. Yeah, so KR is showing the look. It's just
Rudy.
yeah. So it doesn't seem. And we're talking about again, guys. We're talking about a Starbucks. We're not talking about if it was in a club at night and people were intoxicated. I would agree with you, but we're talking about Starbucks. Just people understand. Just it's just I think it's just bad. It was bad communication by the employees and the local manager who was there at that particular point in time. Well, I don't know if the local manager was there. I think it was the local manager who called the police, but whoever it was that called the police, it was yeah.
I'm curious whether the local manager was also fired. I mean,
They ne-
they fired Shannon. She was the one who was thrown for the wolves.
yeah, Shannon, the regional manager who was not there, was not she's just a strategic
Yeah.
person in that manages all the Starbucks stores or shops in Philadelphia. But
Yeah,
she
so
wasn't though.
they throw her for the wolves. But I'm curious whether they fired the person, the operational person as well. There are no articles about that, guys. If you know anything about that, let us know in the comments. I mean, we've been looking into a couple of articles, but there is a lot of vagueness about that. It's also 3 years ago that this happened, so a lot of things are not up to date. But guys, before we continue, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button and also press on the subscribe button down below, it really helps us with the reach. We're trying to get our videos out there to more people, and you can help by doing both, pressing the like and the subscribe button, because we're trying to spread the word.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, the gospel.
Yes, yes, the gospel. Yes. Remember to follow us on
AKR. Did you see it? Thanks for showing me how I can make a sound bite, man. Of my yes, yes, the gospel. This is gonna make the show.
guys. He's gonna go crazy now. Sometimes you shouldn't teach someone to do certain things.
Sometimes
Anyway,
You shouldn't teach them how to fish. Let them. No, let.
Let them perish.
Yeah.
Let them go down into the Titanic zone.
Oh my God.
Have I done a good job? Have I done a good job?
Guys, don't forget to subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook. We see that about 95% of you guys that are watching haven't subscribed yet. So we would actually like for you to subscribe if you're interested in updates, commentary on similar topics. We talk about law or at least cases, um, business aspects of cases. We try to basically give some commentary on these topics. So if you would like to continue following us, just press on the subscribe button. And don't forget to press on the notification bell as well, so you're up to date on every new clip we drop. And of course, as we always said, the Double Thought Show, don't forget to share the video with your friends, family, and also the regional manager
Wait. Who's gonna do it?
of the Starbucks at your local Starbucks. So you can
Okay.
distract them and help them. Maybe get you 25 mil. Who knows? Let's continue with part 2, RJ.
Yes, guys. Assuming you've subscribed already, we want to thank you. Of course, we want to reach. How much do we want to reach by the end of the show, KR? We should.
300. Let's try to
300.
get to 300, guys.
Guys, let's help us get to 300. We're gonna do this week by week. Help us get to 300 subs by the end of the show. Yeah. So to get back, we talked about the local incident, right? So what happened initially with the two men who entered the store, the two black men who entered the Starbucks in Philadelphia, Rittenhouse, the Rittenhouse branch. Dante
Is it called the
Robinson.
Rittenhouse branch?
Yeah, it's called the Rittenhouse. Yeah, I'm telling you, the things are coming together, guys.
Can't make this up.
Okay.
Hey, guys. Oh my God.
Hey, so
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up.
all things are coming together, man. Because
Oh
we
my
talked
God.
about, we have a show, an old show, that's SKR calls it the Broke series of Kyle Rittenhauser, and that's why it's funny, that this happened on the Rittenhouse branch. But not only that, KR, we also have a Shannon in the show. I don't know if you caught that one. We have a couple of shows about Shannon Sharp, the case about Shannon Sharp, and we have another Shannon. So things are coming together in the Double Thought universe. So you start planting the seed, KR. So let's continue with a higher skill, we're going to take this to the next level. We talked about what happened on the local level, but what happened after that, of course, what is very common in corporate world is that the company will look for a scapegoat, someone to fire, someone to punish, someone to fine, someone to function as the sacrificial lamb for a mistake. I'm gonna record that clip next. yo, that's gonna be crazy. But oh, we're gonna use this roadcaster so good, man. Only sound bites, man. But
Help me.
so what Starbucks did, now you would think, what did Starbucks do? Who was the sacrificial lamb? Well, Starbucks had a couple of options, right? They could have fired the waitress who asked the guys whether or not they wanted something to drink or not. They didn't. They could have went one level higher and fired the store manager who was there or at least I don't know if that person was there or not, but who was the one let's say, responsible for that branch. It's not clear whether they fired that person or not. They could have went one level higher and go to the local manager, who was a black person, a black man, I believe. They didn't fire. Well, they couldn't. I hope they didn't fire him, because that would have only made things worse. So what did Starbucks decide to do? They decided to go for the head of the regional manager, the lady by the name of Shannon. I was gonna say Sharp. You see, Shannon Phillips. Maybe they thought that Shannon. Maybe they thought that Shannon Phillips fitted the profile of someone who would call the cops. They saw a white woman, a Karen, if you may, and they thought, yeah, we should fire her. That ended very badly for Starbucks, KR.
What did you say? Sorry,
I said that ended very badly for Starbucks.
Yeah,
to fire her.
Yes, but in the case, so just to go a bit into details into the case, let me share my screen again. They basically tried to. They tried a really interesting angle. They basically said they suspended the district manager was because she was responsible for let me see, the allegation that black store managers were being paid less than white managers, according to the lawsuit. Phillips said that the argument had made no sense because district managers had no input on employees. So they tried to angle it as well during the, let's say, during the lawsuits, kind of trying to avoid the race talk during that, because they knew they would probably lose it if they did that, you know?
Yeah, because it was a stretch. And like I said, you can't randomly go for the head of someone who has nothing to do with it. And there needs to be a coherence, right? There needs to be you need to have something to pin it on the person. But the regional manager or district manager, from what we understand, has nothing to do with how local stores, so each individual local stores are managed. So it did seem, as you said, that they try to angle it differently and saying, yeah, but it's also the dismissal was also because of the fact that black owners were getting paid. I mean, the black managers, right, were getting paid less than the white managers. So they try to push a different narrative to the story. But the woman, Shannon, so the regional manager, Shannon Phillips, was fired a month after the incident. It was clear that she was the sacrificial lamb. So they tried to pin something, and as she was saying, and apparently the judge agreed with her, that she's not responsible for salary. So you should go talk to the person that is responsible. And if you don't agree, fire that person. Don't fire me as a regional manager.
Yeah, and the lawyer basically told the jurors in the closing argument that the company was looking for a sacrificial lamb to calm down the outrage and show that it was taking action. Picking a black employee for such purpose would have blown in their faces. Starbucks denied the allegation, saying that company needed someone with a track record of strength and resolution during the crisis and replacement for her with a regional manager who had such experience.
So
Phillips
KR,
attorney cited, yes, tell me.
So Starbucks is contradicting itself. First, it says that the dismissal was due or partially due to the fact that black owners or black managers were getting paid less than white managers. But then they say Starbucks is in a difficult time and needs someone with a track record of resilience. But that the second one and the second argument and the first argument are not coherent with one another. They're two separate things. So it's like Starbucks was that's why, and I believe that's what convinced the judge. It just seems like Starbucks
Jurors,
wanted
jurors.
the jurors. It does seem like Starbucks chose someone. So first they chose the person and then they tried to figure out.
They chose the white person.
They chose they just chose the first person.
No.
They just no, but KR, you understand what I'm saying? So instead of saying, okay, we need to fire the one that's responsible, instead of figuring out who was responsible first and then based on the investigation, fire that person or take disciplinary measures against that person, they decided to do it the other way around. They chose the person first. They probably went to HR. They said, HR, pull up a picture of
That's who in the chain. Who in the chain is
of everyone in the chain. Oh, okay, we should fire the local manager. Oh, the local manager is black. No, that's not gonna pan out well. Well, who's the next one? A white woman. Let's fire her.
Yeah.
And
I mean, oh, sorry. Continue.
yeah, and it didn't pan out well. That's all I wanted to say. It didn't pan out well because
It didn't.
you can't imagine, you can't expect that a regional manager, you can only imagine what her salary was. You decide to fire her without any grounds. You can't reasonably expect that person will let it slide.
Yeah, to talk about her salary, she actually sued for 3 million. So just for lost pay. And of course, 1 million in it. This is like
So
Florida.
She sued for less. Yeah.
Florida. This
Yeah.
is a Florida.
I gave you the option for less. You don't want it, so I'm gonna.
And now you're taking a bigger L. This is crazy, yo. This is but guy. You remember what I said earlier, right? That probably the people who were involved in the lawyer of Shannon basically suggests. Let me go back to show you guys. But I'm not sure. I need guys. Let us know in the comments if you know more about this case, because the lawyer from Shannon, Laura Mattiacchi, is suggesting that picking a black employee for such purpose would so either everyone involved in the chain is black, and they basically chose
The first white one they got.
Yo. Hey, times have changed, man. Times have changed. Or they didn't fire one of it's for me, it's not clear. Guys, let us know in the comments. Was the person who profiled those two guys, were they black? Because then this suggestion or by the lawyer makes sense. Were they able to basically make a point that literally she was the first? Let's go up the chain. Black. Oh, white.
What's her salary?
I guess someone has to go. Do I have a? Anyway, Let's use this one.
I've seen him do it.
She didn't do anything, but let's fire her.
Yeah,
They want to
it's great.
see. They want to see blood. Anyway,
It's crazy.
it's
But-
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so as KR said, and KR, you can expand on that because she initially wanted 3 million, more or less.
Yeah.
And KR said that it has to do, so it's similar to the Flo Rida case because in that case as well, Flo Rida only wanted so it was a dispute with the liquor company. I forgot the liquor company's name.
Celsius.
So
So
it's
it's not
Celsius.
liquor. It was a energy drink.
Energy, well, even it's equally damaging for the body, but okay. But okay, but there was a energy drink Celsius, and there was some issues with shares and him getting dividends and whatever the case may be. Basically, because they entered a deal when Celsius was basically nothing, and
Yeah.
Flo Rida claimed that he helped Celsius grow, and according to his deal, he believed that he had the right to shares, and so he believed that he had shares, and Celsius were saying, no, you had shares until this year, let's say 3 years ago, but not today, something to that extent. But
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, Flo Rida, that's another point. The main point is that Flo Rida offered a settlement which was low,
Very low. If you
very
compare,
low.
I think he got. I'm trying to look it up. It was
Yeah.
definitely not even a quarter of the 80 million he got. 82 million.
It was very low what he was
What,
asking
like-
for.
Probably 10 million or 5 million or something. Like that.
Florida, where rapper
And they said no.
Yeah.
And so Flo Rida went to court. Flo Rida went to court and got 80 million. Didn't he have a picture with a Brinks truck?
Yeah, he had a picture. Guys. Let me look it up real quick.
Guys,
We
you
have
need
all these cases. Do we have? Did we post that one? Yeah, we have the case here with Florida. That's a very old case of ours. Let's see if I can find
very
it
old
real
show.
quick. It's it's a very old show. Yes, I have it here. So this is the live show we're talking about. Celsius Pay. It was, and we also talked about both being defrauded, but they paid 85 million in total. And he had indeed we basically broke down everything in that case. So from the point where he wanted to settle, and to the point he took the picture with that Brinks truck. And I remember when we were talking about it, it was like, did they actually? Is it by chance that the Brinks trucks were there, or did they really hired a prop company to put the Brinks truck there so they can take the picture?
Yeah, so that's the conspiracy, right? I mean,
Man.
we all know that the money will get transferred. They're not going to transport it in Brinks trucks. But
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, in this particular case, it was the same because she was asking for more or less $3 million, which, so we're back now to the Starbucks show.
Yeah.
The Starbucks team, so the team of the show. The regional manager was fired for no reason, for no legitimate reason, asked for $3 million. What did she get, Kier?
She get. Let me see if I can. I don't have a Price is Right sound.
Ching ching, you do have that one.
Well, I have the ching ching one. I have the ching ching. So I think I'll settle. For the lack of a better word, I'll settle for the ching ching.
free money, free money.
Yeah.
She got, first of all, 600,000 in punitive damages. After, she also, oh no, wait a second. My bad. She got 600,000 in compensatory damages. And then, last but not least, 25 million in punitive damages.
Money.
Yeah. And so the first one, the
600K
yeah, the 600K, but what's the name that it's
compensatory.
yeah, compensatory. Yeah. So the purpose, the difference between the compensatory and the punitive damages. They're based on two uh, damage repair. They're based on two different principles. The first one, the compensatory, is based on the word says it, the compensation of damages occurred. So the think of her. So she probably had to file a list of damages with support, of course. So she would have had to substantiate her claim of the damages she incurred. So that could be lawyer fees, maybe it could be loss of income, those type of things. Both current loss and future loss, perhaps. So that's not clear. We don't have the verdict. But aside from that, she received almost 26 million in punitive the punitive punitive pay, which is basically, you can see it as a fine. It has a different character. It's not a compensatory. It's not a compensatory form of pay. It's not meant to compensate, but it's more meant to punish the wrongdoer, in this case Starbucks. So if she asked for 3 million and she went to court and got 26 million, I think she almost received 200%. Did I do it? Did I have it correctly?
2000.
How much? 2000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah, it's 2000, I think. Well, I hope it's 2000 for Starbucks. Guys, I'm a lawyer. I don't know numbers. But she received way more than what she asked for. Sometimes it's better just to settle. And we see this time and time again. And we can imagine that sometimes companies do not settle also for the image, right? Because they think they have to show the public that they are of the belief that they acted correctly.
800%.
800%. So they had to
Above 850. But
they
continue.
had to yeah, so they had to, as a company, sometimes you have to just keep going, even though you know that you're wrong, but you just need to keep going and let the court, you want the court to decide something. You don't want to settle, because if they settled for that same amount, or for 3 million with the regional manager, that could have blown up in their faces, right? So you never know how the news media can take the story and twist it and say, you see, you fire her, but you still pay her 3 million. So you don't really care. You're not for the cause. And now what happens is you say,
Now
no,
they are down for the cause.
and now they're down for the cause.
Paying more.
And they paid almost 850%, you said, right? More than what she was asking for at the beginning. We see this time and time again, Kier.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make the right decision. I mean, I think it's very with social issues. I think that the lawyer, what's her name? Her lawyer was named what's her name again?
Teriyaki.
Teriyaki. That's not teriyaki. It's not teriyaki. Matiaki law.
Close enough.
I think she made a point. It's hard for them in this case. If all the people that were in that line were black, it's hard to let's say fire those people because of the image stuff. So then they would say, you see, they're not serious about this whole thing, and then you get even more backlash probably. Now they probably took this hit. They didn't want to settle, or maybe they or the amount that was offered to Miss Phillips was not the 3 million she wanted. And they basically gambled and went like, if you don't want to do this and you don't want to, because probably in that settlement it always said also said you're not allowed to say anything about this case or whatever. um let's say in kind of an NDA kind of situation. And you don't know, we it's just speculation, right, guys? So in that case she says, no, I don't want to sign this, or I don't want this amount, I want more. And they're like, well, let's gamble.
Is that gambling? But the
That is gamble. They're like, shake the dice, let's shake the dice and see what the jurors may think about this.
next time, just throw the dice, man.
Gotta shake it first. This is the hood. This Philadelphia, man.
Well, shake it off camera.
Boss. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this whole thing. It's quite a interesting case. I think the guys, so the two guys that settled with both the city and Starbucks, they got what they wanted. I hope they don't start comparing what they got versus what this regional manager got, because then they will probably have a miserable couple of years. Because I would think that they settled for less.
They probably settled for less. I don't know what they do, but of course, a regional manager, you know what a regional manager earns. I don't know if what the jobs are of these people, whether or not they suffered damages relating to their company or their business, or whether they're students. That's not clear to me, but all those things play a role. So at the end of the day, when you hear that someone suffered a lot of or received
Base salary can be 151 with additional bonuses from 70 to 134. So you can say a top max 300K, bottom of 150 or
Okay.
90.
Okay. So we need to, so all those things play a role, and hindsight is always 2020. Or sometimes I've experienced that you negotiate something for someone, say in an employment matter.
Mm.
You negotiate a settlement fee for an employee. The employee thinks it's a very good fee. The employee doesn't want to keep negotiating. She just wants to terminate. She should let's talk about one specific case. She just wanted to terminate the agreement and move on.
So basically, she didn't want to pay you more for you to continue negotiating. She just wanted to settle, like, let's get this money now.
I can only comment on what I know for sure. So whatever the case may be, we still managed to get a very good deal. But what happened was a couple of colleagues of her managed to get a deal where they received 2 months more in salary pay.
Mm.
And that the person called me just to ask whether or not she can ask for those 2 months as well. But we're talking about a settlement of $250,000. It's not, the 2 months different is not
That big.
that much, especially if you take into account the tax that would need to be deducted from such a huge lump sum amount. So, but it just goes to show that in hindsight, you will always have like bitter feelings. And when negotiating. One thing one time I learned it. The first time I learned this scare, I was at the university. I was walking in the restaurant, one of the restaurants of the university, and I encountered a friend of mine who was studying psychology, and we sat down. He said, "We have an experiment or a survey.
Mhm.
Oh no, an experiment that we want to test. We're looking for people to test it with, and we want you to
Guinea
participate."
pigs.
Well, it wasn't those type of experiments. My body stayed integral. My physical, my bodily integrity was not harmed. But it was just questions. So he explained to me. He explained to me the test. It was basically an experiment to negotiate a salary, and we would negotiate. So he built it up, right? So we would have to negotiate a salary. So you need to choose between 1,000 and 2,500, 2,500 does. And we have to try to negotiate a salary in between that amount. I said, okay. So we have to negotiate. He said, yeah. So I was preparing myself, but I wasn't negotiating. I had no experience negotiating at that point, but I was like, okay, I have to negotiate. Okay, let's do it. He said, okay, welcome to the interview. We discussed everything. We talked about the job. You're qualified. We want you here. Okay, but now we have to negotiate a salary. I was like, yes, we have to. What were you thinking? What salary were you thinking of? I said, 2,500. You said, deal.
You took an L.
I was,
Yo. Oh my god.
I was like, yo.
Wait. You were... guys. RJ was like,
No. Wait.
no, that's not the deal I wanted. I wanted 3,000. I want 3,000.
The immediate, and he said, deal. How do you feel? I was like, oh, so that's what the experiment is about. It's not about. So yes.
That's rule number 1, guys, in negotiation. You set, if you're first, you're gonna set the base.
Yeah.
If you set the base, please don't go.
It's about anchoring, right? You need to anchor.
Anchor. Yeah, I use the word base, but it's anchoring.
Yeah, but that I felt bad. So I can only imagine that these two guys might feel bad that they settled for. Again, we don't know what the amount is that they settled for with Starbucks. We do know that they settled for $1 million. $1 million.
I hope they did for $1 million at least.
No, maybe with regards to Starbucks, I doubt it.
Oh, the city,
the city, they settle for a buck, a buck each. I hope it's each again. I think it's each. It's not even worth it to find out whether it was each or not.
Can't even buy the slice of pizza in New York, man. Come on, man. Come on.
Can you imagine, if they go to Starbucks with a buck, they'll call the police on them again because they'll say they can't pay. So they can't pay and they won't leave.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
$1?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
You can only buy a ticket to the toilet if you pay $1.
Yeah. So, well, let's see what will happen to these guys. Well, nothing's gonna happen. Everything's finished. Starbucks took a major L, and it's not Starbucks. Let's say the brand's fault. What happened in Philadelphia, at the Rittenhouse branch on that particular day, but the way they handled it wasn't the best way, as it seems.
Yes. Anything else you want to add, RJ?
Okay, I think it was clear. All I want to say is to everyone that has tuned in, don't hesitate. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. Whatever your thoughts are, please let us know in the comment section below. Remember to rate the show by pressing the like button, share with your friends, your families, and of course, your enemies. Most importantly, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to reach our goals. You see, let us know as well what you think of the new setup. Do you like it? Do you see the improvement? Trolls, let us know what we did wrong. We are curious to know what you think as well. As Kara always says at the end of the show,
But I can only show you the door.
And if there is a ticket behind that door for you to take a look in the deep sea to visit a attraction, a history, make sure when you enter that capsule that it can handle pressure and it's not a Lego capsule.
yeah,
Guys, say no.
don't do crazy things, man. Don't do don't do crazy things in life. I mean, to each their own.
To each their own. I
each
mean,
their own.
at the end
Just-
of the day, if do your all I'll say is this: do your research, because according to what I've read, even before people found out what happened, the whole that capsule was let's call it, that capsule was basically ready for. But yeah.
So maybe it was the same people who coordinated the Titanic trip who coordinated this one. Guys, we'll see each other in the next one.
End of the show. Peace out, guys.